Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. We have a video here about 59 seconds featuring the Prime Minister of Canada, Mr. Justin Trudeau, coming out and talking about expelling, which Canada just did, expelling some Indian officials from the embassy, according to the Canadian government, were involved in the killing of a Indian Sikh, a separatist, a while ago. And we're going to analyze this irritating, I don't know what the hell he is, Justin Trudeau's statements, the behavior, the body language, and I would like you to look at the guys behind him, the woman specifically, how she agrees with that. All right. So what happened? I will discuss it in about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 articles after this. What happened between India and Canada? India will win. Sorry to tell you, my fellow Canadians, India will win. And I will tell you why. So first, let's look at this baboon. Ready? Remember, he's going to talk about we don't allow the rule of law, on our territory and so on, things that he screwed up in the past. But hey, he's allowed to, because he's better than us.
We will never tolerate the involvement of a foreign government threatening and killing Canadian citizens on Canadian soil, a deeply unacceptable violation of Canada's sovereignty and of international law. I think it is obvious that the government of India made a fundamental error in thinking that they could engage in supporting criminal activity against Canadians here on Canadian soil, whether it be murders or extortion or other violent acts. It is absolutely unacceptable for any country, any democracy that upholds the rule of law. We don't want to be having this fight, but obviously the killing of a Canadian on Canadian soil is not something that we can ignore as a country.
Got it? All right, now that we got that covered, what do you think? Everything he said is true. Everything he said is right. If things indeed would be right, if indeed will be a truthful person, if indeed his administration, his policies, his actions will be right. Remember the Ottawa truckers blockade, or however you want to call it? Remember what he did? All right, that's just internal stuff. He infringed on Canadians, we Canadians, like we think we, the Canadians, let's say I'm a Canadian, we all think the same way. We all have the same values. We all love Israel. Why did I bring that in? I'll bring that up. He's not going to condemn anything regarding breaking any international law regarding that area. Why? So when you hear him saying that, it goes from here to there and right in my ass. And I enjoy it. Just kidding. So here you have Trudeau. He's right about everything he said, if true. The problem is, who's going to believe you? He's like the boy who cried wolves too many times. So Mr. Trudeau, again, is unacceptable. He spoke the same thing about that fringe minority with unacceptable views. That's your lecturer. This is the high priest with black face, remember? Not that I give a fuck about painting, that's your choice. You should do whatever. You want to feel insulted? Be my guest. It's something that I know I should be insulted every day by all of you. But I don't. Why? Because I'm not an idiot. So, all right, is it necessary, something that I should be offended about? That's according to my feelings. Anyway, let's move on. So, Trudeau, what happened? A while ago, a Sikh Canadian citizen like that former Nazi, remember, that was revered by Zelensky, Stein, and Trudeau in the House of Commons in Canada. Remember that Ukrainian Nazi? I mean, yeah, he participated. He was a collaborator with Nazis. Remember? Okay. And you come and tell me? Now, I'm not okay with people killing other people, in their territory and so on. But let's say, so let's go to this separatist, this person. He was killed. Not right whatsoever. Right? By whom? They say by some individuals connected with the Indian consulate, embassy, and so on. So it was from India it came, on the territory. That's not right. That's not right. First, what are you going to do about it? They expelled about 6 consular officials. The Indians did the same thing. So that's a war. Now, India is 1.5 some billion. Canada is 40 billion. How many, how would I put it, ethnic Indians do you have in Canada? And how many ethnic Canadians do you have in India? As a proportion, you're fucked. Why? Possible people that would work for somebody else. So from the very beginning, you are screwed. Secondly, you want to talk economically, you want to talk militarily, you want to talk, what do you want to talk about? India and Canada. So I think that's why Canada is toast. All right, you're upset with that. Do you remember why when the Americans, Donald Trump, gave the order to give that guy, that Iranian general, I can remember, Baghdadi, I can remember if that was the guy, in Iraq, and everybody celebrated? Why was that right? Because he was called as being an enemy of United States of America, and they designated him as such. Was that right? They just killed him. They didn't bring him in front of a court. So then the Indians designated this Sheikh guy as a separatist who wants to break the country. That's illegal, Trudeau. If someone in a country that you live in, because that's not your country, would come and say, we want to break this and we want to break this country, would that be what? Acceptable? Of course not. So the same the Indian government thinks about these guys that they designated as being traitors, being dangerous people, separatists, and so on. So what the Americans did, you didn't condemn, you hailed to that evil guy, Baghdadi, I think it was, al-Baghdadi, whatever his general was, the Iranian whatever guard. He was in charge of the military. So when you Crimea River about this incident that those guys designated as that, and let's say they did it, I disagree with that. But you have to be consistent, Trudeau. And you're not. You're not consistent with, let's say, condemning some countries' assassinations in other countries of people that they designate as bad. Like in Lebanon, like in Iran, like in Syria, like in Iraq. And that will come in your country too. So spare me and Crimea River, I'm not saying that's right. I'm just exposing the hypocrisy of this weasel called Trudeau, who comes as unacceptable. And you're going to lose. He's on the way out anyway. But he's going to lose. You Canadians are going to lose. You got, I think, 1 in 4 in your country are from outside. You know how many people infiltrated your society? Do you know? No, you don't. That's the problem. And these guys, remember when the same guy had problems with the Chinese? They arrested that Huawei CEO. And what did the Chinese do? Arrested 2 former intelligence, blah, blah, blah. That was not right. They were just bogus charges and bogus allegations. Bogus. What they do? They released her. And the Americans are doing the same thing with India. Why? Because I tell you the reason. India did not agree to be a vassal state of the guys that want to destroy Russia. That's all. And then China, and then India. So the Indian says, no, we're strong enough. We have nuclear weapons. We have a democracy. We have an industry. We have an economy. We have the power. We have people. We have Sunaks. We have Kamalas. Those are Indian, and the soon will be in Canada as well. So just a matter of time. Just a matter of time. All right, my friends, let's look over I'm going to talk about this a little bit more, but let's look over the articles at hand here. The first one, Trudeau slams India as tensions soar over Sikh separatists' murder. Canada Prime Minister Justin Trudeau accused India Monday of making a fundamental error. When you accuse someone, you have to provide evidence. And well, they provided, right? Fundamental error as an escalating row over the killing of a Sikh separatist on Canadian soil last year saw both countries expel each other's ambassadors. Unacceptable. What are you going to do? All right. Trudeau has previously said there were credible allegations. An allegation is someone said something, linking Indian intelligence services to killing. Both countries have traded bards since then. The government of India made a fundamental error in thinking they could engage in supporting criminal activity against Canadians here on Canadian soil, whether it is murders or extortion or other violent acts. That's a fantastic statement if you would be an honest person, and you're not. Trudeau told reporters in Ottawa, hours after expulsions were announced, we will never we, Canadians, like everybody, never tolerate the involvement of a foreign government in threatening and killing Canadian citizens on Palestinian soil. A deeply unacceptable violation of Canada's sovereign and international law. I know a country very well that breaks the international law right now, as we speak. I want to hear the baboon coming out. No, he's not. You know, for the reason? Exactly. The expulsion came after New Delhi said its envoy had been named among persons of interest following the killing of Nijar. All right, next one. Canada expels India's top diplomat and alleges wider diplomatic involvement in crimes. Next one. Canada expels 6 Indian diplomats after police link Indian agents to violent crimes. All these things were, you remember, Canada expels, and then we find out from the Telegraph that India and Canada expel diplomats over assassination. So it's not only one punch, it's going to be punched back. Canada and India each expelled 6 diplomats on Monday in tit-for-tat moves as part of an escalating dispute over the June 2023 assassination of a Sikh activist in Canada. Next one. How did a killing at a Sikh temple lead to Canada and India expelling each other's diplomats? Because, as I said many times before, if you want to make and I'm not trying to downplay this, if you try to make an unimportant piece of news, the most important, the deeply whatever piece of news in your society, your media operatives will make it. If you want the most important one, like your economy, it's more important than that Sikh. I fucking guarantee you that. I'm talking about the Canadians. If you want to make the most important garbage situation that you have in your country, which is your economy, your mortgages, your taxes, your insurance. Oh, who owns the car insurance companies in Toronto? You tell me. I can tell you. Will be very politically incorrect, but you guys all know it. You all know it. In Toronto, I'm very familiar with it. There are certain kind of groups, I'm not going to go deeper than that own certain industries. Like the Romanians will own the industry of, let's say, illegal computers, transfer and repairs and putting together. Let's say you have the Indians, I'm just saying, this is not true. The Indians having the car insurance companies, they own them and they have it. Let's say you have the Chinese or having an industry of, mortgages or some houses or something like this. What does that tell you? Where are the Canadians? You're fucked. You are fucked, really deeply fucked, to call Trudeau, right? So remember, they are based on ethnic enclaves. It's not supposed to be led that way, but it is. Why? A miscalculation about the human nature. That these guys are continuing to tell us, no, it's not like that. All right, let's go to the next one here. India recalls ambassador, other diplomats from Canada over safety fears. So you got now everything you need to know about this thing. So if tomorrow, I guarantee you, if tomorrow the United States of America designates Gigi as something, as a traitor or something in another country, and they will use a drone like they use, for instance, in Afghanistan, CIA, to blow up that guy designated by Pentagon and intelligence as being that way, the media will hail that, will make it the fantastic. And then what are you going to say about Afghanistan's right and violation? It was about 2 years ago, I made a video on that, when CIA used some drones and killed a terrorist in Afghanistan, a terrorist leader, like the Israelis are killing in Lebanon and Syria and Iran, sovereign independent countries. They shit them, right? Because they designate those guys like that. That criminal designated by the United States of America living in Afghanistan was a Afghan citizen. These guys, what did they do? They did even worse, as you guys, baboons claim on India. I don't like hypocrisy. It's easy to be inconsistent. It's easy. So remember, these guys make from this, that, but from your mortgages, from your economy, from what is really, really destroying your children's brains, your school curriculum. I'm very familiar with that in Canada. You are fucked. From that one, you don't hear from it. You know, when I first read that, I will tell you straight. I was telling you straight. Let's speak like, what's his name? Sean Connery right now, right? So when I read that, it was when I was about 18 or 19. I read a little book written by a bad guy. Why? You need to know. You need to know firsthand. I don't like to hear what other people tell me about other things. Yeah, okay, but let me verify. So I read that book, very young. I read it multiple times because you need to sometimes, like for instance, you read Nietzsche or you read Plato, or Aristotle. You read them when you were, I don't know, 17, 18, 19. That's different brain, different understanding. And then you read it when you were, let's say, 30. And then you read it when you're 40. And then you read it. You're going to have more understanding and sometimes even different view on what those guys said. And anyway, so I read that book. And over there, that guy, the evil guy, said that I realized that in Vienna, the mass media, the newspapers, could make out of a person of no interest the best and the most admired person, or from a piece of news that was unimportant, the most important one in 2 weeks, the newspapers. And from the most respected individual, the mass media could destroy in 2 weeks, making him a persona non grata. They can destroy or create whatever. Remember, when you look at your, I don't know, media source, let's say you watch Fox News, or maybe you watch CNN or MSNBC or whatever you might watch, or maybe you go on internet and you go on your browser, you go, let's say, on Yahoo. Those things are given to us by some who decided that's what you need to know. They were picked and some were thrown out. So that's not what all happens. So when you go to evening, I don't watch media. I just, or listen to these guys. I just read about this and that and then go deeper and verify. But remember, that was picked by one or a group of people who decided that's what's important for you to know. They ignored hundreds or thousands of other things that happened around this globe that they considered it's not important for you to know. Who are those people who think that it's important for you? Obviously, you can't cover the 1,000 or how many they are, but my point is someone picks your interest. Someone picks your interest. And then those interests are shaped in such a way by their little weasels that come in front of you and they're all smooth and not. They're baboons. That was one reason why I do this. Because I said, those guys are liars, those guys are dumbasses, and I'm prettier than them. So I said, all these things, why should I fucking get involved? I can't stand these guys telling all that lie. I can't. I have to act. So you should. So again, that's exactly what's going on over here. From one person killed here, they make it now, you're going to go to war with India. But other things happen more important than that, like giving weapons to Ukraine to actively kill the Russians. That's not important. That's just over there. That's just, you imagine, you're going to go to war with Russia. Russia could designate you as an enemy and nuke you. If they say, no, you're actively involved because you gave a bullet to Ukraine, they can say that. What are you going to do? You're going to fight? Or you're going to say, Al Capone, help me? Al Capone say, well, fuck off, man. Or maybe they're going to get entangled. All right, here is this baboon. It's so irritating to watch this feminized individual, this pussified individual in charge of Canada. Really, really. I remember when my father visited me in the United States of America, and we traveled to Canada and we went around and so on. He said, well, Papa, the cat is here. What do you want? He said, no. Well, obviously he was older, and he said he was very much into industry. He said, I remember when we learned about Canada and what we were taught about Canada, that is a, industrial, strong industrial base and, industrial. And he said, what's going on here? What is this? What is this? Now, obviously, it didn't mean that you go over there in Toronto, let's say, and you look around and say, oh, what is this? This is not a industry. But anyway, my point is, from what you were, and you know exactly who I'm talking about, you became. And you even we're going to become, and you're going to become, until you're going to have, I don't know, a Kamala, which you already have, which is Justin Trudeau, in charge of you. The problem is, some people really like the guy. Really. That's even worse than pretending. Even worse. Those guys believe in Trudeau. They believe in those values. That's even worse. Thank you very much for being with me again today. India, fuck you up. I guarantee you. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.